All right. Welcome to Riding with AMAP that is not riding. I'm talking today. And been back from my trip. This is kind of just a raw video. I'm getting ready to pack up the old girl here. I've got the blankets. We're going to cover up the interior and different things. But I wanted to make a quick video and kind of a raw just video to let you know everything's good. I made it home safely. Gave the car a wash and cleaned up the inside. Still got the paper towels in there from doing that. But and I'm going to be selling fireworks for the next 2 weeks, so I'm going to be editing the videos for that from our trip. Not going to be a whole lot of videos because driving the car down the road is kind of boring, but so I'm going to be doing that while I'm selling fireworks. So I got more videos to come. But the big thing is I want to make sure I remembered stuff that is fresh on my mind about driving an old car for a very long road trip. We did almost 3,000 miles and had a great time. The old girl just traveled beautifully, had just no issues whatsoever. I was really blessed in that regard. She just purred like a kitten. But there are some things that traveling in old vehicles is not the greatest. These seats are beautiful. I'm getting ready to put the seat covers back on them and put that blanket in here and cover everything up, and then put the car cover back on while I go sell fireworks, get her out of the elements. I'm going to move her to the middle of the carport so no sun will be able to get on it and everything. But one of the things we found is these seats are not very supportive. For sitting on them for hours and hours on end, they're not the greatest. And so we bought these cushions. That was very helpful. You can feel, I could feel the metal coming down these parts, and I would have to shimmy my back left and right to kind of keep from getting stabbed in the back for long periods of time. Same thing with my backside down here. You could feel those metal pieces that come up that form the seat. Whether the cushions are losing foam, I'm not sure what it is, but you know, they're just beautiful. I don't want to mess with them. So we just added a little cushion on top just to spread out the weight, and it worked really well. The other thing is, we found traveling in an old car with no air conditioning is get an early start. If you get an early start, then things are fine. But if you wait, it takes forever the car won't cool down. So we actually drove through Nevada in some really high heat in the desert of Nevada and didn't have any issues. And the main reason was because we left Oregon at like 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and the car was just always moving, so that air was always swirling. My daughter had her windows down, and then I had my windows down. We found that when they're both sides windows down, the wind just kind of fights, and it's kind of noisy, so we put earbuds in to listen to music, or if we had to talk to each other, you know, you kind of had to speak in a louder voice. But as we traveled, of course, we had the floor vents open down here. You can blow that out, and floor vents down there was open, blowing that out. So, and then when the windows down, there's just a lot of wind flow, and it wasn't too bad. But the next day that we traveled, made a long distance, we started in Denver, and I was at a friend of mine, and we just visited long into the morning hours, and we didn't leave till about 11 a.m. And by that time, the vehicle was out front and in the heat, and when we got into it, it was just super hot. And that day was a bad travel day. We did 750 miles the first day. We did about 500 the second day, and then that day we only made about 300 because the heat was just really bad. The car never cooled down. Once it got hot, that wind blowing it just was hot. It never cooled down. So from that day on, we always got a fresh start and the early start. And as long as you drove in the morning and you kept that wind circulating, we had just as hot of temperatures the next day, but because the wind kept moving and we were driving the whole time, and it wasn't nearly as bad. But driving through Kansas was bad. It was so awful. It was over 100 degrees, and we were I-70. Sometimes the wind was hitting you like this, and then you turn south, and then it was hitting you head on, and the car was fighting it, and I was fighting it, and we were just wobbling back and forth, and it was just hot and miserable. And so we called that day early. But if we would have started in the morning, I'm pretty sure it would have been much better off, because again, you're letting it get hot and then it just doesn't cool off. But if you drive while it's getting hot, if you're letting that air flow, it just never got hot to where it was unbearable. It was, it was warm, but and the other thing we found is rolling her side windows up, except she used the wing window. She would roll this part. She'd roll this window and crack that window. She'd probably turn it this way, or she sometimes would crack it about that much. But for the most part, we kept it closed. And then her windows were up and my windows were down, and that way the air would swirl like this, and it was much more conversational. We could talk, we could listen to music, and it didn't feel like we had to shout or yell at each other. So it was awesome. We had a great trip. Do it again in a heartbeat. So I'll be getting some more videos out. Again, I'm going to be editing them while I'm selling fireworks. The way it was before when I sold fireworks is nobody ever buys fireworks until July 3rd and July 4th and July 5th. But you have to be there and do nothing for a long period of time so they know you're there. So while I'm there doing nothing, I'll be editing videos. So thanks for watching and have a great day.